Dave, otherwise known as Hugs, and I've been blacksmithing for maybe 19 years now. And it all began when I was about 7 or 8, and I went to a lovely little farm nearby, and the farrier was there shooing the horses. And I remember just being mesmerised by the colour of the fire and this glowing metal, and he was shaping it over the anvil, and I just found it amazing seeing this transition between solidity into curved form. And he then gave me this horseshoe, and that kind of stayed with me since then. After school I went to Blacksmithing College in Herefordshire, did a 2-year course there, and just developed my skills and found that absolutely amazing. The course was incredible, you know. I learned something new every single day. And from there I went on to work with different blacksmiths around the country. Finally have found myself settled here and just expressing it in a different way. I like to connect with the local people in the area, look at what they're doing and see how we can collaborate. You know, the fire's been with us for a long, long time. And so there's many different groups working around, and I like to be able to provide the opportunity for peoples within these different spaces to explore with the fire and to see how it is to create with the flames, you know. So as I'm working it, I'm constantly checking the temperature and I'm twisting it so that the heat stays even. What's really beautiful about it is that you're constantly adjusting every hit that you make. Each time you turn the piece of metal, you're assessing where you need to hit it next. So as you spin it, you're getting an even taper, and so it's quite a nice game in a way. You're having to like be 2 or 3 steps ahead as you forge out a point. I've been travelling around for many years, and maybe 10 years ago I went out to Kenya and I worked with tribal communities out there in sharing and collaborating with the skills of blacksmithing, and that was an absolutely incredible journey. What that did for me was show me and remind them that the art of blacksmithing, the way it's done, has been the same for millions of years. That was an incredible experience working very primitively with tribal peoples, and it really changed my perspective on life all round, really. But it was amazing doing the same subject and finding that we were all doing it in exactly the same way. And the same in Morocco and in India. Travelling through these places, I've always had blacksmithing as a sharing experience, and it's also been a really beautiful way for me to be able to stay longer in places. It's taken me to really incredible places, you know, very unique situations that would maybe not have happened otherwise. So it's a beautiful skill to have, that it connects me to different people around the world. So when I was out in Africa working with all the different tribal peoples, one of the things that fascinated me the most was that they still were creating arrowheads as protection and to go hunting and stuff. And when I was hanging out with the different clans peoples, each blacksmith would have their own unique arrow, and this was amazing. So I was meeting many elders, people with different ages, and they'd be sharing with me their own techniques of the different arrows that they make. So what I really like to share with people in blacksmithing, working with the material, is that we're so used to it being a solid, structural, strong material, cold and hard, and so I really like to get inspiration from nature and from plants, and to bring a different awareness to the shapes that can come from metal. And what I really enjoy is mixing metal and wood. They work well together, and then it's me bringing the loop all the way around, so the irons come from the ground, and so is the tree, and so then to bring them back together and have them as pieces is a really lovely thing to do. For me personally, working with the fire, and coming to this space now, I've sort of dropped into a deep spiritual space with working with the fire. You know, it's for the human race. It's been there since the beginning of time. You know, I want to provide a space where you can come and learn to create with it, having spent many years or days or hours looking at the fire, looking at the flames, to provide this new avenue of exploration.